So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the hypocrisy around the situation between Israel and Iran, and also like an update with Israel looking actually are going into Rafah, which again the US said they would not back Israel if they did that, and then they just greenlit the House have just greenlit a massive arms deal. So let's have a listen to what Big David Cameron has to say about this.
Is it bad judgment or good judgment to hit Iranian sovereign territory in Damascus?
Look, that's something the Israelis decided to do. We haven't made a... I know, well, I'll answer the question, which is, I can completely understand the frustration the Israelis feel when they look at the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and they look at the terrible things that they have done all over the world, including the support they give to Hamas. And, of course, Hamas were responsible for October the 7th, and that is where all of this begins. So you can completely understand the frustration.
Yeah, but...
I mean, OK, let's look at this, right? He's saying the Israelis are right to be angry at the Iranian Revolutionary Guard for them backing Hamas, and Hamas committed October the 7th. But, again, that doesn't give you any justification to do the attacks that they committed on a consulate. You're not allowed to do that under international law. If that's the case, then cool. Then I was saying any country that's involved in a war, their consulates can be attacked around the world. Honestly, it's a bit stupid, isn't it? That's the whole point. We have international law. You either have international rules and norms, or you don't.
What about Iran's frustration at part of its sovereign territory being flattened?
Well, I would argue there is a massive degree of difference between what Israel did in Damascus and, as I said, 301 weapons being launched by the state of Iran at the state of Israel. For the first time, a state-on-state attack. 101 ballistic missiles, 36 cruise missiles, 185 drones. That is a degree of difference. Yeah. And I think a reckless and dangerous thing for Iran to have done. And I think the whole world can see.
Surely you start with the person who instigated this, though.
All these countries that have somehow wondered, well, what is the true nature of Iran? It's there in black and white.
Well, I mean, if you want to use the argument, well, if you want to see the true nature of Israel, it's there in black and white. They've attacked schools, mosques, hospitals, refugee camps, some of the most densely populated places in the world. So if you want to see it, it's there in black and white.
Britain do if a hostile nation flatten one of our consulates?
Well, we would take the very strong action.
Oh, that's awkward.
And Iran would say that that's what they did?
Well, what they did, as I said, was a massive attack.
So they were right to respond, but they overreacted, is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that the attack they carried out was on a very large scale, much bigger than people accepted.
They have a right to respond?
Well, countries have a right to respond when they feel they've suffered an aggression. Of course they do. But look at the scale of that response. Had those weapons not been shot down,
but they just overreacted.
There could have been thousands of casualties, including civilian casualties. I think that's a really important point to take into account.
I mean, it's just pretty embarrassing from Cameron there, really, isn't it? Saying that their attack was disproportionate when they even announced it was going to happen. I don't know how disproportionate it was. Like, as far as the Iranians claim, it was on military targets they were going to hit anyways. The ones involved in the attack on the consulate. So, if that is the case, then I don't see how it's that disproportionate. Let's be honest. This from Sky about the invasion of Rafah.
Iran and Israel and really the world for the last week or so has forgotten about Gaza.
Yeah, and in a sense one chapter closes and another chapter opens, or should we say reopens. And I think we should remind ourselves where we were a month or so ago. Israeli-American relations had hit rock bottom. Joe Biden was saying that he thought Netanyahu's policy and war in Gaza, the way he was waging it, was a mistake, and there was talk of the Americans suspending arms transfers. They were so concerned about the humanitarian situation in Gaza. There are those, and we've heard these views reported on our channel today, saying that particularly in Arab countries at high levels, the belief is that because of all that, Benjamin Netanyahu chose a risky, controversial strike at an embassy building in Damascus that precipitated the counter-strike by the Iranians that led to what happened last night. Now, the Israelis say that's...
So what he's saying effectively is that a lot of countries in the Middle East are believing that Israel did this on purpose to increase tensions. It's quite interesting.
Conspiracy theory, and others point out that as far as we know, that strike on the April the 1st was planned weeks ahead of time. But we are back where we were. We have the Americans saying to the Israelis that they are now accepting the idea of a push into Rafah, that very populated area in the south of Gaza where so many Palestinians have gone to seek refuge.
They were told to go to Rafah as well. They were told to go there. They were told this would be a safe area.
Refuge can go ahead, but it needs to be targeted and report.
That's what they've said from the start, is targeted, precise, and all of this nonsense.
What's now from Egyptians and other neighbours of Israel say they are accepting, they're resigned to the fact that Israel is going to go into Rafah. They're preparing for it. They're not happy with it, but they are preparing for the fact that it's going to happen. And so that is going to be a very bloody chapter, new chapter in the war.
No, it's not going to be bloody. It's going to be a massive amount of civilian casualties for no reason. It's going to be embarrassingly bad. Speaking of embarrassingly bad, this is the White House discussing the attack on Iran by Israel, the retaliation.
In the Middle East, why is it that you don't have any comment at this time? It's been several hours since the reported strike. Certainly that's enough time for the administration to investigate and come up with something to say.
I'm just going to be really mindful, just going back to what I said just before I
just want to be really mindful and tell you guys how concerned I am.
Called on you to ask me this question. So I'm not going to speak or speculate about any of the reports that are out there. I'm not going to comment, and I'm just going to leave it there.
Your strategy to de-escalate?
Look, I'm going to, again, be super mindful, and I get the interest, obviously. I understand the interest, and going to be...
I thought it was bad when, under Trump, the press secretary is like Sean Spicer. This I think, is more humiliating, I'll be honest.
Disappointing many people here this afternoon. I just don't have anything to share. I'm not going to speculate on the reportings out there. You heard the same. Obviously, you said what we've been saying. Going to be mindful because I'm not going to speak or speculate to any of the events from last night. And I know you all have a lot of questions on this. I get it. I understand.
Ha 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 ha. Attack on a sovereign state. Let's laugh. Ha 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 ha. Embarrassing. This is the US, the House of Representatives greenlighting a package worth of £21 billion worth of support for Israel. I mean, it's really telling them, Joe. Well, actually, Joe's not really involved in it as such, because it's the House, but it's really telling them, America, we disagree with your attacks on civilians. We're going to greenlight you even more money for weapons.
The United States voted no on this Security Council resolution. Again, the United States continues to strongly support a two-state solution. This vote does not reflect opposition to Palestinian state.
So, America's saying we want a two-state solution, but we don't want two states right now. It's just, wow. Last one from Rachel Shabi saying Israel has long acted like a rogue state with zero consequences from its allies. The difference now is it's far more people than ever before who can see it, and also it's impacting more people. We saw the attack on Iran spike the price of crude oil temporarily, and we'll see more stuff like that if these kind of attacks continue. That's when countries will start taking notice, when their bottom line gets hit. But they have acted like a rogue state for a long time now. A long time, and it's only now I think more people are seeing it because it's a lot more brazen now, and we're seeing a lot more footage from it. And I think, especially in election years, politicians are way more nervous than they were before. If this was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they wouldn't care so much. But now, election time, now it's secure your term for the next one. That's why I think certain leaders like Biden should be worried about their position right now, because they're not going to get as much support as they did last time. And the argument of the next guy's going to be worse is like, okay, we're supporting a genocide, we don't care. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.